Good morning, my name is Samantha Oliva, and today I'm going to explain my lesson plan number 4. The topic of this class is past simple and past continuous. The grade I'm going to teach is first year of senior high school. The duration of the class is 45 minutes. The proficiency level is A1, and I am the lesson plan designer. The objectives of this class are listening. Students will understand that static verbs are not used in the continuous tense. Speaking. Students will be able to practice the past simple to talk about completed actions in the past. Reading. The students will recognize an action that occurred in the past for a certain period of time. In writing, students will be able to use the past simple with the past continuous to show a shorter action being interrupted by longer actions. Okay, the methodology I'm going to use here is DIRT method and National Functional Method and Communicative Language Teaching Method. Strategies, text creation, individual work, and group work. The anticipatory set. The idea at the beginning of the class is to highlight the functional uses of the past simple and past continuous. For that, I will explain it on the board. Main session input. I will read them a story in which I will mention where I am using the past simple and past continuous tense. Modeling. All the examples and activities that we will do in class and the answers that the students will give will provide clear models which will show them the correct form and use in the context so that they can use it in the future. The guided practice. The students are going to work in groups to write a news report about past events. I will ask the class for some ideas. They can use movies for inspiration. Here are some examples. Okay, students should draw on the following questions to write their report. What was happening before the event? What were the people doing? What happened? How did it start? What happened during the event? How did the people react? How did it end? And what happened afterwards? So they had to complete or answer these questions using the report. Okay, independent practice. Students have to describe a sentence to another classmate. The class will be divided in 2 teams. On each turn, one student will sit with his or her back to the board, facing his or her classmates. Okay, I will write on the board sentences in the past tense using past simple or past continuous or both. The players must describe that sentence to the student sitting with his or her back to the board without using any meaningful words from the board. Okay, the round ends when the student in the seat says the complete sentence. Okay, assessment. Students will exchange the reports made in the previous activity and analyze each other's work. They should look for the answers to the questions mentioned above and report what they have found. They should also correct grammatical and spelling errors. And for closing review and follow up, one student from each group will read his or her story and emphasize the past simple and continuous. Okay, so I'm going to start the class now. Okay, welcome to this class. Today's topic of the class is past simple and past continuous. Okay, so I want to explain this topic. so you can understand it in a better form. Okay, we use past simple for specific points in the past. Okay, for example, I went to Paris in 2004. Okay. The second example is I bought a cell phone last week. Okay, we have one after the other. For example, one after the other. Let's put here, one after the other. What's the meaning of this part? For example, okay, this is an example of one after the other. We had lunch in town, then we went to the beach. Okay, we have two sentences in one. And with when in questions. Okay, for example, okay, with when in question. For example, when did you go to Paris? Okay, so here you have the different points we can use sentences in past simple. Okay, with the specific points in the past, with one after the other, and with when in questions. Okay. Okay, you can write it in your notebook, and we can continue with past continuous. Okay, we use past continuous when we're talking about something that happens in that specific time. Okay, for example, background. Let's put an example. The sun was shining. Okay, here's the example. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. Okay. Okay, background. Now we have already happened. For example, I was walking to work. Okay, we can use while or when or as to join like another sentence. For example, here, I was walking to work when I met John. Okay, when I met John. Oh, or we can use while at the first of the sentence. For example, while I was walking to work, I met John. Or I met John as I was walking to work. Or I was walking to work when I met John. Okay, we can use it in different points of the sentence. Okay. Now let's continue. Okay, now I'm going to read you a story. Okay, and I'm going to mention past simple and continuous tense. Okay, so I'm going to tell you where I am using these tenses. Okay, I'm going to start. The Dog on the Road is the name of the story. Every day, James Lullaby travels to London. Yesterday, he was driving his car. Here I am using past continuous. He was driving his car. When he saw a dog, here I am using past. He saw a dog in the middle of the road. The dog was watching the car closely. Here I am using past continuous. Was watching the car. When it appeared, past. James stopped, past, and got out of his car carefully, past. As he was getting out, past continuous, the dog ran away from him, past. James went back to his car and opened the front door, past. While he was getting in the car, past continuous, the dog approached it again and sat down in the middle of the road, past. James started the engine, past, but the dog did not move, past. James jumped out of the car and shouted at the dog, past. The dog barked at him, past, and started to run, past. James followed the dog, past, while it was running in front of him, past continuous. Suddenly he saw two girls, past, lying on the grass. They were bleeding, past continuous. James took out his mobile phone, past, and made an emergency call, past. As he was trying to call the emergency, past continuous, he noticed that there was no signal, past. Okay, doggy, said James, past. Where is the nearest hospital? Okay, so here we can identify the difference between past and past continuous. Okay, let's continue. Now you're going to work in groups and you're going to write a news report about a past event. Okay, you can give me some ideas. Maybe you can use movies for inspiration. And I'm going to put here some examples so you can answer these questions and completing your report. Okay, these questions are going to help you to complete your report. Okay. Okay, so here's the first question. That is, what was happening before the event? Okay, you should answer this question to complete your report. The next question is, what were the people doing? Okay, so I'm going to write it here. What were the people doing? What happened? Okay, so here you have all the questions you can use to answer to complete your report. Here we have what was happening before the event, what were the people doing, what happened, how did it start, what happened during the event, how did people react, how did it end, what happened afterwards. Okay, so you have your time, maybe 5 to 8 minutes to complete your report. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, okay, to complete your report. And then you're going to share. I want only 2 students for one from one group and the other from the other group. Okay. Okay, if you finish, you can pass and show your report. Okay, thank you very much. Now, you have to describe a sentence to another classmate. The class will be divided in 2 teams. Okay, one on each turn, one student will sit with his or her back to the board, facing his or her classmates, and I will write on the board sentences in the past tense using past simple or past continuous or both, and the players must describe that sentence to the student sitting with his or her back to the board. Okay, without using any meaningful words from the board. Okay, the round ends when the student in the seat says the complete sentence. Okay, so let's start. Okay, here you have the sentences. The first one is I was talking on the phone when my sister arrived, and he was drinking beer when suddenly I felt sick. When he suddenly felt sick, so sorry. Okay, so you have to complete and to start the activity. Okay, you have your time. Okay, thank you very much for completing this activity. Now you're going to exchange your reports made in the previous activity and analyze each other's work. Okay. You should look for the answers to the questions mentioned above and report what your classmate did on the report. Okay, you're going to report what they have found. What you have found here, and correct grammatical and spelling errors. Okay. And to finish this class, one student from each group will read his or her story and emphasize the past simple and past continuous. Okay, thank you very much for being in the class, and I will see you the next class. Bye.